the hidden tree of language, prelogs, slogs, and the Coos principle. Today we are going to explore a radically different way of looking at language. Not language as modern linguistics usually describes it, not merely vocabulary lists, historical borrowings, or phonetic shifts. Instead, we will examine language as a living tree. A tree with a hidden trunk, massive structural branches, smaller branching syllables, and finally leaves, which are the words we speak every day. And at the center of today's discussion is one extraordinary syllable, kos. A tiny sound structure that appears connected to biting, cutting, separation, pieces, extraction, causation, and transformation itself. This lecture presents a conceptual framework, not mainstream historical linguistics. It is an attempt to understand how vocabulary may have formed through layered cognitive structures long before fully articulated speech emerged. Imagine language not as a dictionary, but as a giant living oak. The leaves are words, thousands and thousands of visible words. Words change, die, appear, disappear, mutate, and travel between cultures. Leaves are unstable, but branches are deeper and more stable. These branches are syllabic structures and recurring semantic formations, and below them are even larger hidden structures, prelogs. Prelogs are not ordinary roots. They are not simple syllables. They are not fully articulated speech units. Prelogs are primitive conceptual operations. They are broad directional ideas. Examples of what a prelog may encode include here versus there, movement, transformation, extraction, fixation, materialization, continuity, and division. In this framework, prelogs existed before developed articulation. That means meaning existed before stable speech. Human cognition may have operated through structural perception before the mouth became capable of refined phonetic expression. The mouth came later. The structure came first. As articulation evolved, prelogs gradually condensed into pronounceable sound structures. These are called slogs. The English term would simply be syllables, but in this theory they are not ordinary syllables. They are syllabic descendants of deeper conceptual structures. So the developmental sequence becomes trunk, prelogs, slogs, words. The trunk itself is untouchable in this model. It is the deepest organizing principle. Prelogs are the first major branches. Slogs are smaller branches growing from those larger conceptual structures. Words are the leaves. This explains something fascinating. Sometimes a modern syllable appears to behave like a primitive root itself. Why? Because over time, the audible form and the ancient conceptual structure collapse into each other. The slog begins to resemble the prelog. The leaf starts imitating the branch. Now we arrive at the heart of today's lecture, kayus. The syllable kos appears repeatedly in semantic fields involving biting, cutting, separation, fragmentation, extraction, division, and produce change. Consider Russian kusat, Uk's kusak. The relationship is astonishingly direct. A bite creates a piece. The action produces a separated fragment. This suggests a semantic chain: bite, separation, piece, segment, fragment. This may reflect one of humanity's earliest physical experiences, the mouth dividing matter. The jaw becomes a generator of meaning. The human mouth may be one of the oldest meaning-producing systems in existence. The mouth bites, sucks, chews, kisses, speaks, consumes, separates, and extracts. Many concepts may originate from these bodily operations. Observe how certain words orbit around similar semantic mechanics: scissors, suck, sick, sin, cause. Each involves alteration of continuity. Scissors divide material, suck extracts substance from a source. Sickness separates the body from healthy equilibrium. Sin separates a person from moral or spiritual wholeness. Cause separates reality into before and after. Cause and effect may represent a hidden form of separation. A cause changes continuity, Before the cause, one state exists. After the cause, another state exists. Reality itself becomes divided. So causation can be interpreted as cause equals the cut, effect equals the resulting piece. This may reflect how human cognition fundamentally understands transformation. Every change creates distinction. Every distinction creates fragments. Every fragment becomes identifiable. Language may preserve this ancient cognitive process. One of the most important ideas in this framework is this: prelogs are not words. Prelogs are operations. Traditional linguistics often treats roots as static units with attached meanings. But in this model, deeper structures behave dynamically. For example, TRL, LRT, TLR, RLT. These are not merely sound combinations. They encode transformational mechanics, materialization, fixation, modification, reality emerging through change. The material world itself can be viewed as stabilized transformation. A moment becomes fixed. A process becomes identifiable. An object emerges. Prelogs may represent the earliest cognitive grammar of existence itself. Mainstream historical linguistics generally requires documented ancestry between words. This theory explores something different. It asks, why do similar sound structures repeatedly attract similar meanings? Perhaps because humans repeatedly map bodily experience into sound. Certain sound formations become semantic magnets. KUUs repeatedly gravitates towards separation, extraction, cutting, and division. Not necessarily because every word descends from one historical ancestor, but because human cognition repeatedly rebuilds similar meaning structures around similar phonetic geometry. Language may therefore evolve both historically and structurally. Let us return to the image of the tree. Words are leaves, visible and temporary. Slogs are branches, more stable. Prelogs are massive structural foundations, and the trunk itself remains hidden beneath everything. This model suggests that language is not arbitrary. Vocabulary formation may follow deep cognitive architecture. The same semantic energies continue growing through centuries, appearing again and again in different forms. The visible word is only the final blossom. Kiyus is not merely a syllable in this theory, it is a window into how meaning may have emerged from embodied transformation. The bite, the cut, the separation, the fragment, the change, the cause, the effect, all connected through a deep structural process. Whether one fully accepts this framework or not, it opens a fascinating possibility. Language may not have begun with words. It may have begun with operations, with primitive relational structures, with transformations, with distinctions emerging inside consciousness long before refined articulation existed. And modern vocabulary may still carry the fossil traces of those ancient structures, like leaves whispering the memory of the trunk.